Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Well, I was on my walk this morning, and I thought about this piece, and I thought, what if we put a crescent moon in there? So I'm going to cut out a piece of cardboard here that's going to give me just about what I'm looking for and put it up there and see if it's going to work. For right now, let's just cut that cardboard out. Something like that. All right, let's take it up and see how it looks up on the skull. Okay, let's have a look and see what it might come out like. And I'm thinking dead center, but it could possibly come out on one side like this. Nah, dead center. And we're just going to tape it in for right now just to get an idea. And you know me, tape and I are best friends. Now, of course, that's not going to be in cardboard. It's going to be in madrone or walnut or something like that. I think it has has some promise. Now, the other thing we could do from there is go ahead and come out a little further. I'm going to see what this ring looks like, and I'm not going to be able to see it, so I'm going to look at the video a little later on and see what that looks like. Put that ring right there. I don't know, that seems too big. Let's try a smaller one. Something like this maybe. So that's worth a try. And we'll see what that looks like later. I like the wood part. Now, of course, we're going to put, can you see the bottom part? Yeah, you can kind of see it. So that blonde madrone will go in there. And then the copper will go in here. And we haven't colored the copper yet. We're going to work on that later. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, and we'll be back. Hey, Nick Collier here again, and so far we've decided to use a piece of madrone as our finished piece up on that sculpture. So we're going to cut this out, and you hang in there with us, and yeah, of course I'm going to fast forward this a little bit so that you don't get as bored as I do. All right, let's take it back over to the sculpture and see what it looks like. think that's going to look okay. I'm not going to be able to tell, so I'm going to have to come back to it. Let's do this. We're going to snap a picture with a time release, and then we'll be back. Okay, with wood, this is the fun part. We get to see what this is going to look like. Now I've put a couple of screws in the table. You can see 1, 2, 3 to keep the piece off the table. So when I flip it, I'll have. Let's just see what it's going to look like. I won't be touching anything but the 3 screws, and I can kind of sand that down afterwards. All right, so we've got, we're using a chip brush, so there's constantly hairs coming off of it. So you have to kind of be careful of that. And then we just want to follow the contour and do a single stroke the whole distance. Oops, there's another hair. Come on. Now actually this is the first coat, and what I do with the first coat is mix it 50-50 with paint thinner so that it has a chance to really soak in and bite into that wood. It works really good with exterior wood pieces, like bolt holes, or not holes, but rails and that sort of thing. Okay, you can see it's soaking it up really fast. All right, so we're going to flip it right now. And probably have to get our fingers a little bit mucky. Blah. There we go. this in a sense will be the front side. Hey, Nick Collier here. It's next morning. It's early autumn, kind of cool out. Oh, it's very nice after a long hot summer. So we're taking this sculpture project to the next step, and I'm going to swing you down and show you where we're going. The piece of wood, which is all varnished, well, I still got another coat or two to put on there, but it's varnished enough for the moment. It's a little bit shy of being right dead center, so I'm going to probably put some pieces of cardboard underneath it or something like that to bring it up to equal and level with the piece of tubing. Now what I did is I went in and I drilled a couple of holes in the tubing parallel. This one has a hard time getting through there, but you can see that those two rods are parallel. Then I drilled a hole in the rods, and these will go in like this. Come on. How are they going to go in? Just like that. And kind of butt up right close. And then I'll probably either braze them in or something that's, you know, real flush. And then we're going to come in. Well, for the moment, we're going to bring them in this direction and have them flush out on the top here. And then I'm going to come in with the drill that I drilled them with, put the piece of wood up against the piece where it wants to be, and go in with the drill and drill the wood. And so then I've got a drill perfectly parallel with the two studs that are actually going to hold this thing from getting bent like this. Because if I just put a screw in there, you know, something could knock that. Anything can happen. I want it to be a little stronger. So, and then we come back in. Once we get those holes drilled, we come back in and oversize the holes to fit the shaft. And then the shaft goes into the piece of wood and sits here. And then we take a long deck screw and run it all the way through there, up into here, and tighten it up a little bit. So we've got the strength of this and the strength of the deck screw holding it that way. This thing, you could drive a tank up on that and that'll be just fine. So that's the plan. And right now the electricity's off, so we can't hardly do a thing, but we can drill it. So we're going to kind of back you up a little bit so I can get in there. There we go. And we're going to take this and flip it around. Get this up so it's more level. And I think I don't think this is, I think this is too high. But it's worth a try. Yeah, too high. Alright, let's get some smaller pieces here. Let's see if this might do it. Oh, that's perfect. That's got it just right. So, we come up against there, and we come in and drill that hole. Just a little bit over, right. Well, okay, we're not going to turn it down on the lathe because, duh, there's no electricity. Power went out about 2 hours ago, and that's that for that. So, and since I'm on a roll here, and pour it back out. Nice. Okay, the only way to get a nice clean finish here would be to TIG weld it. I don't have a TIG welder, or we can braze it. So today it's brazing. And we'll crank up the torch. Get a little flux on our rod. Let's turn on a vent fan and start cranking up here. Okay, so we've got our two pieces installed and brazed in. Now we need to put our plugs in the end, and that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Boy, that one doesn't look like it's going to fit, does it? Look at how oval that is. So let's we're going to kind of beat it back into position here. That's a little better. And I think we might be able to get this thing in there now. Obviously not. Let's try the other one. No, a little too big. We're going to take it back to the lathe, take a little bit more off of that lip, and we will be back. Okay, I think they're going to fit now, so let's tap those into place if we can. There we go. There's one. I think we're going to have to round this off a little bit too. That's a better. There we go. All right, so there's two. So we've got two ends. Take a little MIG and weld those babies together. Okay, I think it's ready to go here. All we have to do is get the wood to fit on there and then put the screws in through the back. Looks like I need to kind of come in and clean out this screw hole just a little bit. Okay, so we fitted the wood to the steel, and the plugs kind of go up about maybe about this far, so it's good and strong. Now we have to come in and notice how long these are. They're just a bit too long. So I want to come in and drill those out just a little bit. This little bit ought to do the trick. Slide it up in there. Get it to go somewhat straight. We're still a ways away. Okay, that's about right. And we're going to answer that phone. Okay, Mick Collier here. We're at the tail end of this baby. We've got this that we need to put here. And the problem, of course, is that the wood is attached to the steel, which is going to be welded to this piece here. And we're going to have a bunch of heat right here, and I don't want to mess up the wood. So what I've done is I've got this rag here, and it's just filled with water and ready and waiting to go in and cool this piece off as we go. So we'll weld a little bit, and then we'll cool a little bit, and then we'll weld a little bit, and then we'll cool a little bit. First thing we want to do is make sure we're lined up properly. That looks pretty good. All right, let's throw a quick bead on here. Okay, Nick Collier here, and last night we put a layer of muriatic acid on the surface of this, and this morning it's gotten a nice little layer of rust, just a slight layer. Now over the next weeks or so, especially as we get into the winter, this thing will turn nice bright brown rust color, which is what I want. And what we're doing now is we're installing the copper disc, and I've decided to install it with springs so that it kind of has a little movement to it. And so I just drilled a little small hole in there and found some pretty stout springs, and we're going to just hook them up. Come on, there we go. And rotate my spring around so that it has a bind on it, and there we go. We've got a nice pretty tight little thing. Now the one thing I see is this guy here is off at an angle, and I want it to be perpendicular. Well, that one's off at an angle too, but hang on, just there we go. So we want to run this perpendicular. I think the better thing to do would be to just drill a second hole in right in here. Yeah. see how that'll play. There we go. Take that around, put a bind on it. Much better, much better. So we got like a little wiggliness that can happen, like, you know, when wind hits it or something like that. I would love it if it made a nice sound, but yeah, sounds like a, you know, it sounds pretty chinny. So one thing we want to do is cut off this little bopper here. And now we're going to come in and color the copper. I scrubbed it down really good to get a nice clean surface. And we're going to come in with the torch and torch this baby off and see how it goes. I'm going to drag the torch out, so it's going to take a bit. So I'll be back. Okay, so let's color this. I learned this little trick when I was a jeweler. So looks like we got just a bit of spotting on there. That's going to be fun. And I used to color copper in my jewelry. This is a bigger piece of jewelry. That's just all there is to it. Alright, so basically we just start heating up the back. So it starts to show a little color. Well, actually, let's heat up that one. Well, not too bad. Not too bad at all. We'll come back in after it calms down. Oh, it's actually pretty calm. It's still a little warm. We'll come back in and wax that, and that'll kind of preserve the color. And then the rest of this will get rusty. It's already kind of starting to turn, and we'll go from there. We'll be back. Well, hey, Nick Collier here, and it's about 6 months later. We've put this thing out in the forest here and just kind of let it sit, and it's gotten rained on and hailed on. No snow yet, but at some point or another, and it's still looking pretty good. So, and it's starting to really take on a nice rust patina. So at some point or another, we're going to drag this thing back into the shop, set up a gate sort of situation so that this thing will swing, and then start adding to it. And until then, we'll see you later. Nick Collier, checking out.